Can I interest you in some Lacerate?
Rayclast is a cursed land. You'd have to be mad to settle here.
Hi, Zizaran here with another build for the upcoming 3.25 League, and this is going to be a Lacerate Gladiator. Looking really comfy, and this is a bleed build. Now, bleed always looks a little low in DPS on the sheet, but what's so nice compared to other builds is that bleed has there's no ramping here, we're not using Crimson Dance, so you hit the target once and your full DPS is applied instantaneously. This will make it feel really good compared to other builds that maybe have situational damage or downtime between damage where you need to move, etc. In this build, you're pretty much always at your top damage, which it makes it feel a lot higher than what PoB will say. Please keep in mind that the gameplay footage is shot before 3.25, so because of that, it is not fully representative of how the build will perform in the next patch. We don't have access to any content before it's out, but we still want to see roughly what the build looks like. There are a lot of buffs, so it'll be a lot stronger than what you're seeing. And as always, if you consider these build guides useful, please consider subscribing. It helps us out a lot. Now, this build ends up being a bit of a really nice all-rounder. I would say it's probably more of a bosser, and we are using the new War of Attrition, so the longer you are in a boss fight, the more damage you will get.
Ramping
Another thing that's super nice about this is that we get the bleed explosions that feel so incredibly nice for mapping. So honestly, very nice all-rounder, and especially in softcore, this should be able to take all the Ubers, and honestly, you can face tank a lot of the moves. You cannot face tank Uber Sire's Meteor, but you can face tank with the endgame Gary, Uber Shaper Slam, and a lot of things like Maven Fireball, etc. with Molten Shell up. So it looks really good for both. This build is one of the select few that we offer in a written version over at Maxroll. And the written guide will have everything detailed from leveling, skill gems, gear, and much more. Way more in-depth than the video guides will offer. They won't be up immediately as the video goes live, but you will be able to find the link in the description as soon as it is available. So, this is Path of Building. If you aren't familiar with how it works, we do have a video that shows how Path of Building works, but we will be using this in all our guides. And as normal, we have a step-by-step skill tree here that you can skip through and see. And then we have different endgame trees, depending if you want more damage for softcore, more specific for bossing, etc., and more like a generic easy one to use. If you're wondering what's different between the endgame and the bossing one, it's basically War of Attrition. You won't really need War of Attrition by mapping, but War of Attrition is really good for bossing, so you can have Weapon Master instead. So let's talk about our Ascendancy real quick. It is just show you which one to take when here with Normal Lab, Cruel Lab, Merc Lab, etc. Quite nice. We get Gratuitous Violence. This is, like I said, so nice for clearing. We're getting Determined Survivor. It's so incredibly easy to block up. We're going to see a lot of this as League starters because Gladiator might not be the best Ascendancy to play forever, right? We see a lot of people theorycrafting Slayers, Juggernauts, and other builds, and a lot of things look really good. But Gladiator looks like such a nice day one Ascendancy. Get really powerful at the start of the league and make a lot of currency because there are a lot of things for the other builds that will be really expensive. Some for this as well, like for example, Reslatha's Coil is going to be very pricey this league. With this and the Lucky Block, I think if the math is right, I think that makes us have 88 or 90 block. It's very high. So mapping and stuff like that will feel incredibly nice. You are never going to die to rapid fire hits on this build. It is going to be big slams that go through your defense that will kill you. However, like I said, with the endgame stuff and a Molten Shell up, if we look here, enemy as a boss, Uber, boss kill preset, Shaper Slam. With Molten Shell up, we can actually survive a Shaper Slam, and it still does need to go through the block. There are a lot of Uber abilities that have can't be blocked, etc. So that is very bad for our build, but we are still able to tank a lot of stuff. So very nice and rounded build here. And then we do have the choice between Weapon Master and War of Attrition. Since we have an axe, we are getting 30% more damage when they're on low life. So basically on average 50% more damage, right? 15%. And then War of Attrition, to deal the same amount of damage against a boss, you would have to stand there for 15 seconds. However, it will keep ramping past that. So this is going to feel really nice the worse you are and the worse gear you have, because if you haven't been able to gear up properly and you end up being in a boss fight for 100 seconds, you do get 100% more damage. So you do have like a little bit of a helper there. So it's a little, honestly, it's quite nice, especially early. Now you see we do get a decent amount of max res, etc. So quite nice. 82, 80, 80 max res. We have a lot of increased endurance charge generation and different ways to gain them. We have endurance charge on block. We have Disciple of the Unyielding with the increased charge duration. And then we have +1 endurance charges. So they will last for quite a while. And another thing, and people that play Explosive Arrow might already be familiar with this, but you see here the combined total damage, 17 million. You do not have 17 million DPS. This is the damage one bleed does. So if you do one lacerate on the monster and then stop attacking, it is going to do 17 million damage. However, the bleed DPS is 4 million. So this is our actual damage, but as I said, it does feel like quite a lot better than that. There's no ramping, there's no downtime, etc. If you go look through our skill section, we have put it into different groups. So you can see that it is very, very spaced out, easy to see what gems to have at what different level. So you won't be worried about like accidentally having too many gems. Here we have everything with awakened gems and stuff like that. So this is for like the super endgame one, and that does put us up to 5.6 million damage. Here in the gear section, we have early game example of what gear should look like early. Remember the weapon whetstone recipe with a rustic sash needs to be the blue or rare. Then one blacksmith whetstone and then a weapon. All the other gear, just try to focus on sockets and then use a, like even if it's white, put it in the crafting bench and craft resist. Goes up to 18, so you get very fast rest capped by that. Early game, you do want to start getting something like flat fizz with percentage fizz, and base types are quite important. So you do want to look that up. The Wikipedia, you can look at PoE axes. So the best base that you want to use, it's not always the one at the bottom. Both Royal Axe and Reaver Axe are good, but Reaver Axe has a higher top end, which is what is important for us here as a bleed build. So Reaver Axe is good. The slower ones are generally better for bleed, even though like for a lot of builds like Sunder, etc., you'd be focusing on the high attack speed basis. That is what you're looking for there. Other than that, in the early game, you can see that it's mostly just like life and res and some suppression when you can get it. And honestly, getting a decent amount of chaos res is good as well. You do want to try capping your chaos res, but at least getting to a decent amount, like 30% chaos res, will be quite noticeable. But since we are using Comb Sign, it is going to be a bit of a challenge to get chaos res on this build. A lot of builds will be using amethyst rings, and that makes it so much easier. But Comb Sign is so powerful because of the endurance charges, and especially now that endurance charges is also your elemental mitigation. And you can see that our max hits are really high here. Another thing that's important, this is the beta branch of PoB, so we don't have access to everything, but it does have the tree and stuff. It might say something like convert when you're downloading it, but it is up to date for the new patch. We do have some things here like custom modifiers for things that aren't added yet to simulate the new patch. Now we do have endgame gear here as well that should be still quite reasonable to get. 577 DPS axe. We're a little unsure because there's a note in the patch notes saying life on block is removed from shield, but we're thinking that's the life on block, not the recover. So the difference there is this is on shaper. It's a shaper suffix, and we're assuming it's just the natural like flat block that has been removed. So if percentage life on block still exists, which most likely it does, then that is going to be extremely good for sustain. Then everything here is like life and suppression. You do aim for 100% suppression on this build. And the biggest trouble is going to be getting chaos res. Honestly, taking Illyria for 1 point instead of Oak is not the worst idea. Obviously, Oak is quite nice for the life, but to make it a little bit less daunting to get the chaos res and normal res, Illyria is not the worst idea. If we look in the notes, there are a lot of things that you might be asking. All the answers are here for the most part, and you can drop by stream and ask for questions too. Determination, for example, was nerfed a lot, so we are solving that through like just better gear. So one thing that's new is we are using blood magic, especially with the aura nerfs. It solves so much because we need to invest a lot less into like reservation. We don't need to invest as much into minus mana cost. So it just frees up so many nodes. And yeah, it just means that you can't really reserve any other aura than Pride. And the way that works is you have Pride on Eternal Blessing. So you can only have one, and that works pretty fine with blood magic. So now let's talk a little bit about some things that you could mess up with this build. We are not using Jagged Technique And that's because we're hitting so fast. So you do want to like get some attack speed too, and we are getting a chance to aggravate from stuff. And the way that works is that when a target has been aggravated, all the bleeds on that target will deal more damage to it. Now, if you don't like Lacerate for mapping, and hopefully it should feel fine with the bleed explosions, but if you don't like it, we do have here another alternative that you switch to Earthquake. However, for Earthquake, instead of Weapon Master, you do want Jagged Technique for that, because the Earthquake is not going to attack as fast and things will not be aggravated. So you do want to get that on the first hit there. Now, a really nice thing about this build is that you aren't spamming loads of like war cries, etc. So it is quite a like low button clicking build compared to a lot of the builds that we're seeing people make. A lot of people that are making slams will end up having they need warnings, right? Like a lot of people don't want to press like 6 buttons while they're mapping. I do also have a separate video about how to craft weapons, especially early on. So if you're not sure on crafting, make sure you check that out. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Sub if you like it, but more importantly, try to die less than I do. Good luck at Leaguestarter, and I will also be streaming on YouTube this time.